What's up, gamers? In this and subsequent videos, I'd like to summarize my notes regarding the topic of self-determination theory. The first installment regards the explanations and the rationalizations for a thing called causal agency theory, something that will be talked to more in detail. My notes attempt to summarize the main points of development of self-determination throughout the life course. Self-determination theory has existed since 1990 from Edward Deci and Richard Ryan, and has now been expanded upon and cited thousands of times in academic literature. The theory seeks to recognize the categories of motivation, the qualities that make them up, and the facets of how those motivations may be directed towards actions. These videos are not intended to be comprehensive, and I believe the subject to be worth individual examination. If you would like to read any topic that I may cover here, you are able to access it for free using Google Scholar. This video covers the first portion of the book, so your understanding of the topic will be incomplete without viewing my subsequent videos or reading of this book. For this video, I will be referring to the second box in this diagram, labeled causal action. We see that action-control beliefs lead to volitional action, then to agentic action, resulting in causal agency, and finally self-determination. It may be helpful to go back to this figure once you have finished listening. From the top of the diagram, an external stimulus can be perceived as a created or found opportunity or a threat. This then involves our capacity beliefs, control expectancies, and agency beliefs, which influences our causal and agentic capabilities, then leading to causal action. These next two slides are situational findings that preface the practical implementation techniques described in later editions. Inner dialogue is found to be productive when it is information over controlling. Informational self-talk can involve speaking about yourself in the third person as a mentor or parent. For example, Josh did some good studying this morning. He's made some good efforts toward his goal, versus I have to study really hard, or what I do with my time is worthless. In addition, positive competence-related feedback is more conducive than external incentives. For example, you're giving it your all and improving well at the subject, able to remain calm and do good work, versus if I study for 4 hours today, I'll buy myself a Big Mac. An environment that supports autonomy, a subject described in later segments, is one that provides information, strategies, limits, and expectations. For example, here's the recipe for the cake you will need to make. I recommend not delaying with decoration, as a successful bake is more important. You are not allowed any outside help, and you have 4 hours to complete this task. The following subject explains the self-determined learning model of instruction. First is to set educationally relevant and valued goals. For example, I want to learn about frogs, so I'll set a goal to better understand how their legs work. Second is to create an action plan and to monitor and evaluate progress towards those goals. An action plan involves a chronological set of tasks, and an evaluation of progress is used to adjust those tasks as you deem needed. Finally, revise the action plan or goal as necessary based on those evaluations. Causal agency is defined as having the dispositional characteristic of self-determinism, acting to be causal agents in their lives. The following section describes characteristics of self-determined actions. First, the actions are volitional, which means they are based on conscious choices that reflect one's passion, where conscious choices are defined as intentionally conceived, deliberate actions that occur without direct external influence. The second is agentic action, which is the means by which something is done or achieved, and are self-directed toward a goal. This is done by identifying pathways that lead to a specific ends or causes to create change. The third is action control beliefs, which involve control expectancies, capacities, and causalities. Control expectancy is the link between the self and the goal. For example, when I want to do blank, I can. Second is capacity, which is the link between the self and the means to achieve the goal. I have the capabilities to do blank. Finally, causality is the beliefs about utility or usefulness of a given means for attaining a goal. I believe my effort, not other factors, will lead to goal achievement. Here are the self-determined action characteristics described previously with corresponding component constructs and elements pertaining to each. From the second figure in this video, you may have noticed that external stimuli can be perceived as an opportunity or a threat. I think this distinction is relevant to how you could understand or potentially shape motivational factors. From empirical evidence, it is shown that believing in a positive outcome of effort and ability is beneficial to goal achievement. From our first figure, act control beliefs influence volitional action, which then incorporates agentic action, involving the ability to self-regulate, to keep goals in mind to work towards completion, and finally to monitor progress towards goal attainment. From the previous slide, self-regulation is the response system to help individuals regulate coping responses to aspects within their environment. Coping responses may involve positive self-talk, as described previously, communication with support networks, or switching tasks to one that is more intrinsically motivating. The steps of self-regulation involve 1. Making decisions about how to act, 2. To act, 3. To evaluate outcomes of their actions, and 4. To revise the plan if needed. If you've come this far, I want to thank you for listening to a subject that I consider quite interesting, and if possible, comment Bush's baked beans below to help sow the seeds of confusion into other viewers.